It's a big pleasure having him in studio with us. His name is Sung Yoon. His brand new book, The Samsung Man's Path to Success, Turning Crisis into Breakthrough. Sung, thank you so much for taking time to chat to us.
Thank you for having me.
So the book is a story about a young man starting his professional career, having an idea of where he wants to go and not ending up there.
Yes, exactly. When I started, I was thinking probably maybe 1 or 2 years maximum with the Samsung, and was thinking to run my own business.
Yes.
But it ended up over 30 or so. So, no, I didn't mean to spend such a long time, but I enjoyed every moment when I got new.
So let's start at the beginning. Young man wanting to get into the corporate culture, learn from a big company, and then starting your own business. What was the idea? What was going to be the big business that Sung was going to run if he did not stick with a big company?
Well, I was thinking to take over my father's business. He established textile, and it grew at the beginning, and after that struggled badly. So it ended up, right? He left the business, but Samsung, right? It was not that anything related to those things. So when I started, Samsung gave every month, every minute, give new challenges. But there are two different type of people who are enjoying the challenges and who are trying to avoid. But I think I was more of enjoy the challenges. And the good thing with the Samsung in my life from the beginning, they gave me a lot of initiatives which I can handle, although I'm just a beginner. And if I made some mistake, they didn't punish, but they encouraged to do something more creative way. Wow, this company is interesting. And they always say, put the people the first and train them, educate them at the early couple of years. So that's why I ended up like over 30 years and without thinking to entertain myself or something else. So that's a great journey which I wanted to share with young generations, how they can develop their future. There's a lot of uncertainties and the challenges will coming in our life, but don't be afraid and just confront it in the face and overcome. Then, although we make some mistake or failure, we can fail, but we always can get some lessons, which will be great asset for your life.
So, in the start of the book, you mentioned that you went through a very intense interview process to become part of the company, and then eventually you could decide into which department you would like to go. This was not something that you knew where you were going, but then you had a conversation with HR asking, why would you guys like to place me in this certain department? And they explained it to you, and you found that the argument was valid.
Yes, that's one of my episodes, beginning of my book. So interesting thing in our life is probably we may not end up what we want to do. Right? It's always company or in our life, something will be given to you. Then same thing happened. So I had a very good performance and the entrance evaluation type of thing was top 1%. So they said, oh yeah, so if you want to go there, you can do that job. But they put me completely opposite side. So I thought, oh, it's time to leave. Less than 1 month with a company. But my senior mentor said, oh, understood, but talk to HR as you said. So what they told me, they did a lot of different tests, right? It's not the math or the grammar test type of thing.
But this was more of an aptitude
Aptitude, exactly.
test to
Right.
see, what your skill set are, how you are with working with people,
Yes.
where else they could place you that's not just like in the corporate role.
So exactly that's what they did, and I don't know what the
score of
behind
that was.
Yes. So they said you are the person who enjoys something new challenges. Obviously, that's true, and that's why we put you in a completely new business development team in Samsung Electronics. In 1980s, 1990s, computer is
We didn't understand
yeah,
the concept yet.
right. And just a few people can use it, and even the university, limited professors can use a computer. So they assigned me to sell a computer. So that started how they see the new employees' capabilities and attitudes type of thing. And obviously, that should be aligned with the company strategy in the long run. That's a kind of huge, billions of dollars investment for over 10 years. So they saw, that guy is a beginner, but he can learn and can be a leader in 10 years, 20 years type of thing. So I enjoyed it.
And you had to learn pretty quickly because they put you in this role where you were heading up a relatively new department. You had to sell a product to people and businesses that we didn't really understand, but that was where technology was going at that stage. Samsung not known for making computers, but then you partnered up with IBM.
Yes.
And at that stage, I wanted to ask you specifically, in the book you said you sold a whole bunch of computer monitors to
IBM. Yeah.
IBM, and you mentioned something about 10,000 rand, $10,000 a monitor.
Yeah.
Is that correct? Was that the pricing back then?
Yes.
On a full unit.
Yes. Think about that's year 2000, right? 23 years ago. So now everyone use in your the office flat thin LCD monitors.
Yes.
But those days the biggest one, the LCD monitor, was a 14-inch. And it's a very limited quantities because of yield rate and technology was not there. Same thing, we the electric vehicles was very expensive 5 years ago. It's now dropped a lot. That's a technology. So we sold the $10,000 monitor to IBM, and IBM sold to Wall Street big financial companies. Like that episode is about Fidelity.
Fidelity, yeah.
Yes. So interesting thing I learned from there is that's a huge investment from the Fidelity, but that's normal invest from their side. And there was just happened. The story happened. Hey, there's out of 3,000 monitors we sold to them, a couple of units, less than 10 units, had a small, tiny the dots. Right, it's almost invisible, but engineers can catch it. So send it back to us, and I send it back to Korea. So those are things we decide immediately. Hey, what's the root cause of this? The dot, and ended up okay. Seems like it may happen gradually to all product because we use the kind of big components. So that's the early stage, right? And the price is you can imagine because of only 1,000, 2,000 units available a month type of time globally. So our time management was decided. It's not my level, like replacing all monitors, which is almost $30 million 23 years ago, right?
That
I
is
think,
crazy.
Yeah, that might be current value, almost $300 million. So we decide replace all gradually because it's not failed yet.
But it might because of
after
the
1
same
year,
parts
yes.
have been used for the whole batch.
So that is giving a young, a salesperson in Samsung Electronics trust. Is the most important thing to develop a relationship and business. But at the beginning, I was just still very junior level, didn't understand that $30 million at that time and replace, right, without any pressure from them. Okay. But it ended up, the rumors, word of mouth, spread in the Wall Street, like in Goldman Sachs, Morgan Stanley. Surprisingly, they decided to buy the monitor for their, the traders from Samsung and IBM.
So, but that's also where you learned a very valuable lesson from your mentors. And that's something that I see through the book is you had a whole bunch of mentors that gave you inadvertently such good advice by leading by example. And this was one of those first examples where we know this could affect the company in the long run. But if we proactively do something about it and exchange these monitors, like you said, over time, we could save face for the company and also build reputation.
Yeah.
It's not an easy it's not easy at that stage making a commitment to say, well, $30 million worth of monitors are going to be replaced free of charge on our account. But that meant so much more for the business in the long run.
Yeah. So from my level, I didn't see that type of dynamics at all. And my the boss, CEO, I don't think he knew we can get such a huge return after 1-2 years. Because I think about the CEOs, if he lose a lot of money for the performance, he can get fired, right? He cannot have next year, but he decide that. So anyways, that's what I want to share with the young generations and the other leaders in South Africa. Hey, what the top management leader should do? Make a decision at his level. And the manager level should be deliver the exactly the fact back to our top management and to our customer. So transparent communication. That's what I learned and try to share.
So let's fast forward into different parts of the book a little bit further down. Is at that stage, Samsung wasn't known as the global leader.
It was a very mediocre.
It was a mediocre company.
If I said Samsung, most of the people say Sam what?
Samu.
Yes, exactly.
And then your main competition when it comes to TVs and that kind of thing in the electronic space was Sony.
Yes.
Who's got a big market share. They've established themselves as a company over many, many years. But Samsung as a company, you guys as a company, you really wanted to go after that market share and become a leader in certain segments. But you had to learn. And one of the ways that you explain in the book of learning is being on the ground, being between the people, the consumers, and finding out what they need, getting their feedback, and being able to take that back, implement that into research and development, and bringing out products and new developments that is more in line with what the consumer wants.
Exactly.
So I think that's a valuable lesson for companies to learn, because most companies would set out and say, you know what, we have this product, now we'll find the client for it. Whereby an approach of finding out what the client wants and developing a product for what they need is maybe a better option. So in terms of our businesses, South African businesses and that kind of thing, I think that's a good principle, putting foot on the ground and learning from the people.
Exactly. So it's difficult to say Samsung at that time, like 2005-ish. It's not startup. It's like a mediocre brand and
Yes.
The big company in Korea, but no,
No real
presence
global
in
reach.
global. So what they did is trying to establish good business with technology. So they focused everything for research and development and making good product. So started Samsung TV case, for example, 1970, but over 35 years, even couldn't catch up the gap, technology gap, and the sales gap to Sony. Sony was, phenomenal, good product, analog stage, the called Trinitron. So, suddenly, early 2000, there was a change from analog to digital technology. So every companies try to develop new technology, but I'm the big leader over 30 years in the market, and then why I do rush for new changes? Well, preparing something, but not urgent manner, versus Samsung. Let's do the focus on the digital technology. So that's a little different dynamic. But more important thing is consumers' image and mindset will not change easily. Who is the best? It was Sony, right? That was even in Korea, Sony was very popular. So think about many startup or new medium-sized company in South Africa. They have some good software or program or product. Then how to be successful in that case? Consumers don't buy, although we have good product. That happened in my story about how Samsung TV became global number one 2006. Is looked at our partners. We are not selling direct to the consumers, so retailers and our top management send me. Hey, Sung has a little trained with global IBM business type of thing, and first time I got that assignment working with the retailers. So true partnership developed between retailers and the manufacturers. So as you said, we developed a product based on the retailers' some input. They know customer than Samsung in America, for example. So we tried to simplify. They were quite clear. Hey, the American consumers like this, but you guys have 10 different things which even we don't touch at all. Focus on those things what they need. So good thing is I delivered all those messages back to headquarters, and our top management decided, okay, let's go that path. So we developed a product based on more of a consumer's need versus what I like. This is best technology.
What your engineer said would be perfect at the moment.
Yes, so that happens every companies and software, hardware or platform type of thing. So think about what consumers need, right? And that's the way we develop product, and the communication for the promotion sales was seamless. There was no delays. If our retail partners ask us something, we give an answer yes or no. We cannot say all the time yes. Yes means we have to fund something for special discount or sales.
But you kept those communication channels open with your retail partners. Constant feedback helped you design and produce better products.
Exactly, because the retailers, they have their own process. Like take 6 weeks to print for the promotion. They call circular promotion paper, and we have to decide something. But most of the manufacturers were worried about, if we share our plan, 6-8 weeks before the promotion, then our competitors may know that there was no trust. But that's what I built. Hey, we have to trust them. They will not share this in the market at all, because they have to win. If that rumor is going around, then they cannot win with compared to other retailers. So that's based on those true partnership is developing product based on consumers and our partner and from trust. Okay, I understand your process, and they understand our process. Oh, okay, that's something. And then those communication itself is seamless, like within 24 hours. So that happened for Samsung grew mediocre brand to global number one in 2006 TV.
What was interesting is a young Sung at that stage still, you didn't look down on the small guy. We're used to big companies, especially when they're starting to speak to their retailers. It's the big companies, it's the mass marts, it's the big Best Buy. It's the guys who buy thousands of units of a product from a company at one stage. But that was not your approach. You wanted to be on the ground. You looked at smaller retailers, smaller companies who had maybe 10, 15 units in stock and found out what they also wanted and got that research, because those guys were just important as the big retailers.
Exactly. So US, when I was the leading the sales team for TVs and smartphone, that market is huge. We all know the biggest single market in the world. So they purchased over $1 billion of TV a year, or $2 billion smartphone for $4 billion, $5 billion. Think about the attention from Samsung Electronics side. So if I bring our customers to, let's say, Korea for the meeting, then that's way high. The almost chairman level will greet them. So as middle manager or director, so the pressure is high, right? I have to prepare everything perfect. We cannot hiccup for the schedule or discussion. Yes. So I prepare, as I told you, what do they want to discuss? I ask them, hey, David, tell me what's the key agenda for you, versus, oh, we want to sell this product.
We want to show you this and that, and this is the next big thing.
Yeah, that's something we tried, but that's not what they want to focus priority. Well, they want to see that, but hey, here's the top 3 things for our company's the progress and the growth. So I prepared based on what they want to discuss, and prepare from Samsung side how we can provide solutions. We cannot fix all their requests, same thing for the technology. So that's a very productive conversation. So I was trained over 25, 30 years supporting those big customers. When I came over here, maybe some thought, oh, this is too small. No, customers are customers. That's why whenever I met the retailers in South Africa and telcos, regardless their the amount of money, same thing. When I had meeting planned, I asked, hey, our salespeople, what's the discussion point? There was no surprise. They come up with, we want to tell this. No, okay, well prepared. Can you tell me what they want to discuss?
So you can almost say, in a way, Samsung was not a technology company, but a solutions company.
Yeah. Yes, providing either technology solution or a product solution or promotion, sales partnership, marketing partnership type of thing. So that was quite natural to me to work like that. And from my local business partners as well as my colleagues in Samsung side was, wow, that guy is something different. But it was quite natural. I didn't try to pretend something different way. Oh, this is, let's listen and let's come up with some solution and let's develop together.
So let's jump forward a little bit again. Now Sung has become the CEO of the African continent and making sure that, all of the technology this side is being taken care of. You grew really, or I want to say, you fell in love with Africa and its people and the continent because there was so much opportunity. For you as a business person, having learned a few lessons now, what was the main attraction of Africa as a continent for a big company?
Well, two things. First, when I got new assignment, that was like this. My boss called me, Sung, can you talk? That's not good signal in general, just one-on-one talk. So he said, hey, Sung, next month, actually in 1 week, you have to go Africa to run the business. So I asked, Africa? Because there was kind of just rumors send me back to America again, right? Because I was 3 times assignment, total 16 years worked in America. So that's kind of, I was more the American market specialist.
And you understood that market very well.
Yeah. And then when I was a little embarrassed or shocked, he said, well, that's a time management decision and you have to go. Okay. So, and I didn't challenge him, but he said, well, what they told me to my boss is it's time to prepare something for South Africa for next 5, in next 10 or next 20. That's the faster growing market, although the amount is not big as much as other continent. So, but the business in Samsung running is not organized well. Apply what you learned from the America or different market. Prepare for your juniors in Samsung. So at that point, makes sense to me, and especially doing something for my juniors and for the future of Samsung in 5-10 years. Okay, I will do that. But the issue was my wife.
That's always the issue, is the wife.
Yeah, well, she returned back to Korea with me, and lucky enough to work for Korean government for the disease protection type of thing, because that's her specialty. So I asked her then, hey, honey, we need to go. I need to go. I didn't say we. I need to go Africa next week. And she said, Africa? Why Africa? And I explained to her that this is the reason. I think I understand. Africa, okay. We have never been to Africa, so that might be interesting journey. So she agreed, and that's why my career is mainly being supported by my wife. That's the first thing. And the second thing about Africa. So it's not negative thing, but I realized that they were a little different. When they have unexpected challenges and difficulties, they tend to give up versus the confronting in face. So because they didn't have many experience, I realized. So I told them, let's do that. That's my spirit. That's my Samsung culture. Over 30 years, I was being trained. So when I shared, hey, this will be our target, they didn't believe, right? And this is our strategy. Okay, strategy is fine, but the goal target still didn't believe. And I explained to details over and over, and if they understood, they performed better. No, they can. Well, that's what I saw. That's why Samsung South Africa got first level of triple B versus when I started, it was a level 7. So in 2 years, none of our colleagues thought we can achieve only even the level 3 or 4, but we achieved the level 1 with a clear goal, target, and strategy. And I cannot do that. I mean, all of my staff covered every effort. So that's why I really like South Africa, and the future is very bright to me. Currently, we have a lot of challenges, the energy load shedding type of thing, but we will eventually overcome because I see many common things. South Africans, and the South Koreans. Very resilient.
Very resilient people.
And invest a lot for their next generation's education.
So, later parts of the book, I mean, you've rubbed shoulders with all of the big celebrities, but there's a lot of South Africans in here. From the Springboks, you guys have sponsored the Springboks. Casper Nyovest is on here. You had a time with our President Cyril Ramaphosa, and it seems like you've really just enjoyed your time in South Africa.
Yeah. Well, as I told you, that's what I learned when I started Samsung. If there is a challenge, if you cannot avoid it, just enjoy it, right? So what I try to make Samsung in Africa, South Africa, is, our people and South African people think, oh, Samsung is not global, some country's brand. It's your brand. Actually, we have a factory in Durban, TV manufacturing factory in Durban. So we do a lot of local things, but consumers don't know. So how we can reduce the gap? I mean, I asked to my team, local team, hey, let's go with Casper Novist and the MOPS, Mapuyana, and that's the way they gave a recommendation. So what I did is, as I learned from my big boss, mentors, decision. Okay, let's do that. So that's the way to develop how Samsung South Africa can be accepted by consumers as a kind of a local brand or something. That's why they agreed with all the celebrities agreed with our approach, and George Bini was there, and it was a really fun time for me. So the not just because of that, we developed the right product for this market, which is not all premium, expensive, the most high technology product. We brought medium scale TVs and affordable smartphones for the consumers.
It fit the South African budget.
Exactly, but it was not easy to convince Samsung headquarters. The market is small, global perspective, but they come up with a new product, fit into the South Africa in 1 year. It's not like next month. So it was a great success, and most of the product we launched it with, for example, we called one of the phones Casper phone, right? That's a very affordable A series and more dedicated for South African market or African market. But now it's a global successful product for Samsung.
So you learned from South Africa and you could implement in other markets.
Yeah, and there are a couple of things I created first time in Samsung history, like Blue Tag sales is applying Samsung mobile phone and the TVs, fridges, refrigerators, all retailers and telcos in South Africa as well as the entire African continent at the same time. That type of promotion is first time.
Never happened, yeah.
Yeah, and still it's only Africa, right? Because retailers want to control their sales, but combined with the COVID-19 challenges, they love that that approach.
So our time's running out, unfortunately. I have so much that I still want to speak to you about. But one of the amazing stuff that you said in the book, at some stage, you went to the top of Mount Kilomanjaro. And you mentioned in the book that it's difficult if you want to reach the top, but getting there on your own. You need, it's easier if you do it in a group. I think that's such a valuable lesson, and that's also why you try to build people around you. You try to build them up, and you surrounded yourself with people that could help you achieve those goals. Why is it so important to have the right people and the right structures around you to make yourself one of the biggest leading brands in the world?
Yeah, from my experience before I came over South Africa, I always saw the expat from Samsung headquarters, we stay like 4 years and 5 years. If they leave, depending on their leadership, the organization or business continue to grow or collapse, kind of struggle. So I saw what's the difference. Build strong local leadership, right? If they understand what we want to go and they know their cultures, they are working in their countries because different culture is not just culture. If we don't understand South African, Ubuntu or those things, it's extremely difficult to make a true partnership. So that's my observation. And when I came over here, obviously, we didn't have in South Africa. We didn't have many global multinational sales experience or trading. We have, but very limited people. So I tried to hire some people, but it was extremely difficult, right? So, okay, my expectation is at least 10 years experience in trading. Not many people. So we decided, okay, let's hire from the scratch, college graduate. And I met the dean of a couple of good college, a vice chancellor. And
it's almost a full circle moment because that's where you were many years ago. And now you're repeating the process, but now you're giving opportunity for people to come to the company and learn the way you did.
Yes. So a lot of young generation. At first, Samsung was not that much, approachable company image.
Yes.
So word of mouth, we hired some young generations and gave local leaders, right? I had a really good local leaders too. So they got kind of direction because I have many experience. And they managed their team and try to hire more people. And always we were growing. Company needs to grow in sales. That's what I want to tell in my book. Sales is important, no matter what, software, hardware, platform, energy, any new technology, or even AI, need to sell something to their customers. So the sales skill is not like, let's have a drink, dinner type of thing. It's a need to understand what they want and what we can do type of thing. So that's what I spend most of the time. And Kilomanjaro is the highlight of my life, right? Prepare like a 2 months before I climbed up. And I realized, many people talking the climbing mountain and the life is similar, but you just keep talking that. But I realized, wow, preparation, day and night. And I realized if I go by myself, I cannot make the summit. Right? Uhuru Peak is almost 6,000 meters. So adjust day by day, and we had a leader, and we all followed, and even in that case, 30% made the summit. From the entrance of the Kilomanjaro, it took 4 days to reach to the summit, but going down took less than 1 day. It was quick. So climbing to have a summit like a target, we need good company, and I cannot do it by myself. We need a leader and who are following and shepherds type of thing, but we have to come down. That helped me my retirement, right? Normally people retire. I mean, no matter what kind of retirement, it lose center of gravity. But because I made that, and I knew at a certain point someone has to come down. And that's not the end of our life. We can make a different plan for the small, very close mountain type of thing. That's why I put the Kilomanjaro part as the chapter 6 and the highlight of my life and my book.
So you mentioned the retirement now. I'm not 100% sure why you want to go into retirement, yet there's still so much passion and energy and information, I feel. like you want to share with people. I understand that's the reason for the book. It's a great read, especially for somebody wondering, what is my personal path to success? This is from a CEO from a multi-million-dollar global company now. This is how they did it. How can I implement that in my own strategies? But it feels like Sung still has a few people to influence and a few people to help out, even in your retirement days.
Yeah, well, just
you can't sort out our Eskom crisis, can you?
I'm doing something. Well, I'm not the main part of that, but think about retirement. There are certain policies each company, like age retirement,
Yes.
those things, and so on. So yes, I was 60 and retired from Samsung. And as I told you, it's not the end of my life. So writing a book gave me a big chance to think of a reflection of my life, and gave me, hey, Sung, prepare better for the next chapter. So I'm giving a lot of lectures to the college student and the company, sharing my experience, and they love it because what I'm telling them is my episode experience, how I got challenges and how overcome and success, right, with a lot of failures, and giving free mentors to those companies. And at the same time, I'm a board member at Telkom, local. So now it's interesting. They texted me when they announced my assignment in last year, May. The stock price went up because local market knows me. Some of them, medias know, they know me. And I have a global, the CEO and leadership and different connected product type of experience, which is good. So I'm helping Telkom as board member. And just last week, I'm still Samsung alumni. The Samsung has a lot of business. So one of my friends are working there. Samsung SDI is a battery manufacturer, global number 2. And LG is the number 1 for the battery side.
So you guys are now coming for LG. LG is the next target. You've conquered the Sonys, you've conquered the Apples. LG's turn now.
No, what I'm trying to do is contributing for South African lives and connecting with Korea. So it's not LG, Samsung type of thing. How I can bring Korean technology and investment, financial investment over South Africa. So I know a couple of people running independent power producer, making renewable energy, the solar and the windmill. And they called me, hey, Sung, there is a government, the bidding, which is a RFP, request for proposal. But I'm not doing battery. Can you help me to connect with the Korean company? Because they saw Korea and China are big, but obviously Korea has both LG and Samsung, SK have a very good quality product. So I checked and had good meetings together with them last week, and we can make some progress. Think about, right? The concept is simple. We have a good sunlight and the wind. So government invests a lot on those renewable energy, but at night, if there is no wind, we need to keep as a storage to stabilize, and they can sell to grid and for the individual houses or complex. So that is not right away tomorrow, but it will help.
It's in the pipeline.
Yes. So I'm not an energy specialist, but I'm a person. As you read my book, the relationships and the trust and the connection.
You have the connections.
So I will do my best to contribute to relieve the load shedding problem.
Well, there we have it. Sung, thank you so much for sharing your story. I think it's always amazing when somebody is able to tell us, where they started, where they're going, and what the next chapter of their life is. And there's so many valuable lessons, everyone from if you're a salesperson to just somebody wondering what's the next step in your life. I think there's so many valuable lessons in your book that people can learn from. So if you want to go out and you want to get Sung's book, it's The Samsung Man's Path to Success, Turning Crisis into Breakthrough, and it's a phenomenal read. I mean, on the front here you have one of the Mandela daughters who's giving you a bit of a quote to put on the front of the book, and that doesn't come cheaply. So I think that says a lot about you as a person as well. So thank you for your time, and thank you for taking the opportunity to speak to us.
Thank you for having me today. Thank you.